It started with a letter. Not a friendly, welcome to the neighborhood kind of letter, but one typed in bold Times New Roman, folded crisply, and tucked into my mailbox like a venomous snake. The header read, "From the Homeowners Association of Maplewood Estates." Beneath it, a single line in all caps, "Your garden is an eyesore. My name is Jake Monroe. And for 2 years I've lived peacefully at 47 Willow Bend, minding my own business, tending my vegetable garden, and enjoying my weekends off." But apparently, peace was too much to ask. The letter went on to say that my overgrown vegetation and non-standard decorative choices violated HOA guidelines. I read it twice, then noticed the signature, Karen Whitmore, HOA president. Karen lived directly across the street. Her lawn was manicured like a golf course, each blade of grass obediently trimmed. She had that permanent squint, like the world around her was perpetually offensive. I'd caught her glaring at me before, once, when I planted sunflowers too close to the sidewalk. Another time when I parked my old truck in front of her house for 5 minutes. That night, I walked out to my garden. Sure, it wasn't perfect, wildflowers mingled with tomato vines. A few ceramic gnomes peeked out from beneath the lavender, but it was mine. It was colorful, alive, and buzzing with bees. An eyesore? Hardly. It was a sanctuary. The next morning, I attended the HOA meeting. Karen sat at the head of the table like a queen guarding her throne. When my name came up, she adjusted her glasses and declared, "Your yard disrupts the uniform aesthetic of the community." I couldn't help but smirk. "You mean it's too alive for your taste?" She ignored the jab and handed me a list of required improvements. Trim everything to 6 inches. Remove unapproved decorative figures. Replace all non-native plants with turf grass. I stared at her like she'd lost her mind. "So basically, you want me to kill it?" "Compliance is expected within 2 weeks," she said. That night, as I stood under the stars, staring at my garden, a spark of defiance bloomed. If she wanted uniformity, she was about to get the opposite. I wasn't just going to keep my garden, I was going to make sure she never forgot it. The idea came to me as I stared at my empty patch near the fence line, the one facing her immaculate yard. A grin spread across my face. Oh, Karen was going to hate this. Something big was coming. Revenge, when cultivated properly, is an art form. And mine would take shape not in words or complaints, but in sculpture. I spent 3 nights sketching designs at my kitchen table, surrounded by empty coffee mugs and seed catalogs. I wanted something dramatic, unmistakable, a statement that said, "You can't prune my spirit." At first, I considered a simple gnome army, lined up along the fence like tiny sentinels. Then I thought about a fountain that sprayed water in her direction every time she walked outside. But no. It needed to be grand. It needed to be unforgettable. That's when I remembered the old scrapyard on Route 9, where I'd once found metal barrels for rainwater collection. I drove out there the next morning, picking through rusted treasures until I found it, a huge, human-sized mannequin frame from a department store display. Slightly dented but sturdy. Around it, heaps of metal pipes, gears, and garden tools gleamed in the sun. My imagination roared to life. Over the next week, I welded, hammered, and painted. Sparks flew in my garage like fireflies. Slowly, the figure took form, a towering metal sculpture. Half robot, half garden spirit. I gave it leafy hair made of old trowels and a grin carved from a saw blade. I mounted a bird bath in its chest, so robins could perch while Karen fumed across the street. My friend Mark dropped by halfway through construction. "Dude," he said, staring wide-eyed, "you're building a mech warrior in your yard." "Not just any mech warrior," I said, grinning. "A guardian of horticultural freedom." When it was done, the statue stood 9 feet tall, rooted firmly in the soil. I positioned it perfectly so it faced Karen's front porch, arms crossed in silent judgment. The next morning, I added a finishing touch. A solar-powered spotlight that lit it up at night. Like a guardian angel or a mechanical demon, depending on your perspective. By noon, Karen noticed. From my porch, I saw her emerge, clutching her coffee mug. She froze mid-sip, staring at the gleaming colossus now looming over her rose bushes. Her mouth fell open, then snapped shut. She spun around, stormed back inside, and within an hour, I got another letter. The HOA requests immediate removal of unauthorized yard installation. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my coffee. Oh, Karen, I thought. You started this. And I wasn't backing down. Karen was relentless. Within days, she had organized a special HOA session just to discuss the statue incident. Flyers appeared on every mailbox. Emergency meeting, addressing community standards violations. She even bolded the words, public safety concern. Half the neighborhood showed up that evening. I walked in late, wearing my muddy boots and a t-shirt that read, "Grow Wild." Karen was already mid-sentence. It's an eyesore, she was saying. It frightens children. It lowers property values. It's a hazard. I raised my hand. It's art, I said simply. Her nostrils flared. It's provocation. The room murmured. Old Mrs. Dalrymple from next door piped up, I think it's lovely. The robins love it. That earned a few chuckles. Karen tried to regain control. This is not about birds. It's about order. We have standards. I leaned forward. Funny, because when I asked for permission to grow vegetables, you said there was no rule against it. Now suddenly there's a rule against creativity. The room buzzed again. Karen's smile was thin as dental floss. We'll see what the HOA board decides. Over the next week, I became something of a local legend. Neighbors I'd never spoken to stopped by, snapping photos of the statue. Someone posted it on social media with the caption, "The Garden Guardian vs. HOA Karen." It went viral. Comments poured in, some cheering me on. Others calling me the hero of suburban rebellion. Karen hated it. She started walking her dog at odd hours, glaring at the statue from across the street. One night, I caught her trying to measure the height of the sculpture with a tape measure. When she noticed me watching, she huffed and scurried away. Then came the final blow. She called the city inspector. 2 days later, a man in a hard hat showed up. "We got a complaint about a non-permitted structure," he said, clipboard in hand. I explained it wasn't a building, just art. He shrugged, walked around, and finally said, "It's within code. No problem here." Karen stood on her porch, jaw clenched, as the inspector drove away. I gave her a friendly wave. She didn't wave back. That night, I installed another light. This one gave the statue a soft, golden halo. From her window, it must have looked divine. And in that glow, I swear I saw her curtains twitch. Like the eyes of a dethroned queen refusing to admit defeat. Weeks passed, and the neighborhood adjusted to the presence of the statue. Kids named it Rusty. Someone left flowers at its base. Even the mailman started greeting it. The once quiet Maplewood estates now buzzed with laughter and curiosity. But not everyone was laughing. Karen avoided me entirely, no letters, no complaints, no forced smiles. At first, I thought I'd finally won. Then, one rainy morning, I saw her sitting on her porch alone. Coffee cup trembling in her hands. For the first time, she didn't look angry, just tired. Something shifted in me. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe I just didn't want to keep fighting forever. I decided to cross the street. She looked up, startled, as I approached. "What do you want now, Mr. Monroe?" I held out a mug of fresh coffee. "Truce." She hesitated, then sighed. "That statue is ridiculous." "Maybe," I said, but it made people smile. Her lips twitched, the faintest ghost of a grin. "You really think I'm the villain here?" I shrugged. "You're passionate about rules. I'm passionate about dirt." We collided. For a moment, she was quiet. Then she said softly, I just wanted everything to look nice. Predictable. I nodded. But sometimes nice means letting things grow a little wild. That afternoon, something unexpected happened. Karen walked over to my yard. Together, we planted a small patch of daisies, her idea. She didn't admit defeat, and I didn't gloat. It was simply peace. A week later, I found a note taped to my mailbox. It wasn't typed this time. Just handwritten, with slightly shaky cursive, the HOA has reviewed your garden. No further action will be taken. P.S. The statue can stay. I smiled, folded the note, and tucked it into my pocket. That evening, as the sun dipped low, I stood beside Rusty, watching light scatter across the petals. Across the street, Karen sat on her porch, sipping coffee. She gave a small, reluctant wave. I waved back. Maybe order and chaos could coexist. After all, so long as there was room for both roots and rebellion. And Rusty. He kept standing tall, facing her yard. Not as a symbol of defiance anymore, but as a reminder of what happens when you let something unexpected take root. Sometimes, the wildest gardens grow the best peace.